So I'm assuming you've gone back to Saudi Arabia since you've been here.
Yeah.
Do you every time? How do you have to kind of redefine your do you have to adjust yourself before you go back to kind of fit in better, or do you just kind of come in and you are who you are now when you go back to Saudi Arabia and does that create conflict?
I've never been changed. Like, well, I see myself as changing to a better person.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I have that idea in my mind. I'm never gonna change myself
Mm-hmm.
because a person told me to do it, or
Mm-hmm.
because to fit in the society
Mm-hmm.
or something. I'm just gonna do what it feels right
Mm-hmm.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't readjust anything, but I love to discuss and talk about a lot of things. So when someone told me, why are you doing this? Why are you wearing this? Or
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever, something different,
Mm-hmm.
like out of norms or whatever, I'm just gonna start a discussion with them.
Uh-huh.
So I see it as a chance to talk to people and educate
Okay.
them.
Okay.
You know, like
Mhm.
it's all about educating people and
Yeah.
like let them know about the different aspects of the world. And I'm trying to wake them up or something like this, but
Mhm.
they just sometimes they ignore me.
There's a feminist movement in Saudi Arabia right now. I've been
Yeah.
hearing about it more and more. Some of them
Yeah.
have been imprisoned, I think.
Yeah.
But they've just been able to pass the driving law, so women can now drive.
Yeah.
So it feels like change is underway.
Yeah, and also women are, I feel like women power, or the feminist movement is at the peak right now, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Because people are just talking, and then, women are talking and saying like this, there was a woman saying, it's never safe for a woman to go outside by
Mhm.
herself
Mm-hmm.
at night
Mm-hmm.
in the US or in Saudi Arabia.
Mm.
Because she's studying here as well.
Okay.
So she was talking about, because whenever a man approach a girl or whatever, they have that thought of in their minds, oh, she's alone and
Mhm.
she's by herself at
Mhm.
the dark, no one can see. I'm just gonna go there, pray for whatever.
Mhm.
And she was talking about like how men are like how they think about a girl being alone, and instead of just like helping her or protect her or whatever,
Mhm.
they just have one thing on mind. Or
Mhm.
she was talking about how the way they're like why they're not able to move forward because they're thinking about that way, like they just take any chance to do it, like,
Mhm.
or whatever. Well, she's not generalizing all of that, but she said that's why we have higher rate of rape or everything, or like bad crimes or whatever, because they don't hold on to their bad thoughts. They're just gonna
That's
do
here
it.
in the U.S. or in
Both. Like
both,
she was
okay.
just talking about
In general.
men.
Oh,
Like,
in men. Okay.
she was saying like, if I was here or back there, it's the same thing. Like that was the point of her. She's living in a very dangerous, I guess, city or wherever. Not like
Mhm.
very dangerous, but like Detroit or whatever
Mhm.
that state is. And she was saying that I will never go out alone.
Okay.
Although it's kind of free country, women can do whatever
Right,
they want
right.
to do, but we're not safe. We still
Right.
have to protect ourselves.
Right.
And people were telling her like, oh, you're just talking badly about men. Like like even women themselves
Mhm.
will go against her. They think that they just ignore the fact and whatever she's saying, and will focus on how could you criticize men, like whatever you're saying it's wrong, and whatever the men are doing it's the right thing.
Okay.
People don't listen to women, but they listen to men. So
Okay.
I can see, like, even though she's saying true stuff, like she's saying the truth, but they don't accept that
Mhm.
because they don't see what she's saying. They just see that she's a woman talking.
Okay.
She's not saying something important.
Okay.
Yeah, and I hate it because this is what I'm talking about. Like, people are not willing to change, and they're unwilling to see the truth. But they just, if it was a man who's talking like that, they will agree.
They might listen.
Yeah.
So they'll listen to what a man says, but not a woman. Right.
Yeah, but they don't see that like sexism they're holding. They don't say that they do listen to men but not women, because
They judge the woman.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's this is your society structure. Like they've been grown up listening to men, like everything a man is saying is right thing. For sure, he knows what he's doing, and they trust him, whatever he's doing. But it's hard for a woman to come and talk, because even though she's saying the truth, people will not listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Seems like respiratory care might be. I mean, I can see that it might lead you to a particular job that you'll find interesting, but I feel like your interests are broader than that. Like I see you being more involved in sociology or political science or maybe women's studies.
Yes, I do.
Have you thought about picking up a minor in something else, like a minor in sociology or a minor?
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if the government will approve it or not, and
Right.
also I'm not sure if they will. When I go back to Saudi Arabia, if they consider it a minor or something, I don't know. There's something complicated about having a minor, like really far away from healthcare or whatever.
But sociology is not that far away from healthcare. That's why it's a required prerequisite.
Yeah, I know. Like I love sociology and women's studies.
Yeah.
I mean, that would make it big. Oh, my parents might not love it because I'm talking about legal stuff, and
But that's exactly what you've been talking about in terms of education, how you've changed since you've come to St. Kate's, and so it feels like at the same time that you have this privilege of a scholarship, your scholarship is also constraining you to study in an approved area.
Yeah.
That is not really allowing you to take your passion and turn that into what you would actually get involved in the future. Like respiratory care is a very specific kind of healthcare field, right? But your interests are so much broader than that.
Yeah, I was thinking of what could do like respiratory care, but mostly like in an education way. Not really going. Well, I can go to the hospital and do some stuff, but if I don't like it, take my PhD degree and do something. But education, yeah, I'm more like I'm a person who would like to not like giving lectures, but talk more than like helping people. I mean, I do like helping people, but I see myself as a teacher more than.
Okay, so maybe so let's talk about your future goals. So what are your future goals? Do you see yourself as a professor, like going on for a PhD and becoming a professor?
Yes, I feel like if I have one dream, if I want to achieve one dream, that would be that one dream I'm dreaming of, having my PhD degree in like being a professor.
Okay.
Because I think this is where my passion comes. Like even if I'm gonna tell people or teach people about healthcare stuff, I'm teaching them in a way. I feel like helping them somehow. I do appreciate all my teachers and professors, and I feel like it's kind of hard to be a teacher or a professor because you're giving your time. Sometimes there are some professors who just come to the lecture and do their stuff, but there are other professors and teachers who will help you more. Like they will give you, they basically give you their time to, and they're hoping to make you a better person. So I have that sociological concept in my mind that I want to change the society to a better society, especially teaching young women, ladies, not getting married early, not getting pregnant early in life, and search for themselves, and not to stay at home and do dishes and cook or whatever because they have to. And I have more passion about that because this is what I'm telling my other cousins as well. I was telling them, you don't have to do the dishes. Where my future husband and I will do the dishes together. We'll cook together, and that will create more happiness and memories and comfortable feeling. And I will, because we're sharing everything. And one of them told me that you're too young, like you've never experienced that. Well, she's my age, honestly. And she was saying you'll do everything by yourself under the name of love or something like this. And I was telling him, you don't really love yourself, and I feel like you don't see that what you're studying, like what you're giving for your what you get for yourself, or what you're learning is something for your family. Like you can't say that you're succeed. Your succeed is only yours, but it's all your family. Well, it's your family succeed. So I don't like it when people think, I'm not gonna go study or continue to get my master's degree, PhD degree because I have a husband, I have kids, and I have all that. I will just stay home and take care of them, and I will just think about it in a way that you're succeed. It's for them as well. Like you getting a master's degree or PhD degree or working is something to give for your children as well. Like if they see you as a role model who get her PhD degree and she's a working mother, she's taking care of her family, and also that will that will give more knowledge to the family. I guess you will raise your kids in a great way, because I guess more. Although there are some people who never get their PhD degree or their bachelor degree, and they read a lot of books, they are willing to learn. So learning is not only about like taking your degree, but also you have to have passion to learning, and you have to know that if you are learning, you're helping your family to learn, like to learn from you, and being a good role model to your kids and your husband as well, and keep that happy family. Something like this.
So when you think about your future goals, the activities that you're involved in on campus or off campus, doesn't sound like you're involved in anything off campus, so more on campus. Are there activities that you are involved in on campus that will help you achieve your future goals?
Yes, MIPS and SCISO for sure.
Okay.
And like I feel like all I have, what I've been doing from my first semester until now, it's I get more knowledge, and I get to know how to deal with people and the way to contact people from different respect, and talk to people from different backgrounds, and trying to avoid any racism or sexism in my speech, and not having any stereotypes or not prejudge any person. That might help me to, when I go back, talk to people about my experience, and also, if you can deal with people from different ethnicity background, then you can deal in a good way with your own race. I think this is, I've been doing so much communication with people.
Excellent.
And I guess I get to learn how to get people to respect you as well. And also I gain more knowledge about public speaking. I'm willing to speak up in some of my classes, especially the sociology class.
Okay.
As well.
Do you speak up a lot in your classes now?
Yeah.
Good.
I not a lot, but much more than when I first came.
Okay.
Especially in the sociology class, I just feel like I'm willing to share my things. I'm willing to speak up. So this is how I know that something is changing. If I'm willing to speak about my culture and educate people here about how, or just let them know about my experience as an international student, as a Saudi woman, and how that could apply to the class. Then I can go back to home and talk to them about what I've been learning. How can we change this society to become a better society?
Excellent. Really excellent. Wow, that's so exciting to hear. I love having opportunities to have good conversations with students several years later, because I see all the the development that's taken place, not just in terms of language proficiency, but how education has really been transformative, and how you've really claimed all these opportunities to learn here and to grow from them, and to think about what does all this mean for yourself and for your future, and for when you go back, how you might help to transform Saudi society. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Let's see. So how has your involvement in these activities on campus, in your classes, in the clubs, what kind of effect has that had, or impact has that had on your sense of who you are?
I think I get to know myself more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I was back there in Saudi Arabia, I've never read an actual book, like a whole book.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came here, I had to read a lot of books, and then I just realized that I love reading books.
Oh.
So
Uh-huh.
I try to. Well, sometimes I get bored from the English books because it's not like my first language. Sometimes it's just too much for me to read it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
But now I can read English books for fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I do have couple Arabic books to read as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that I love reading, and I think I'm taking it. I want to take that, make it a hobby for me. Just read whenever I have time, and because I believe that reading is a good way to, to give you knowledge and all these vocabularies, and also make you a better speaker. Like even in Arabic, when I started speaking, people tell me that you have good flow, good vocabulary to use. Like you're not just saying things, and also when you're in discussing things with people, you make people agree with you in the way you're speaking. Because like when people are good speakers, then you just feel like they're saying good things, or they're saying the truth because the way they're speaking. But if people are just saying random words in a bad tone, or an aggressive tone, whatever, or not really having that layout or points, they will just, it feels like speechless speech or something.
Have you thought about taking communication studies classes? Have you taken it?
No.
No?
I took the communication public speaking class.
Okay.
That one, yeah.
The where you have all the different speeches that you have to give.
Yeah, the informative speech and
Okay. I forget what it's called. The Speech Communication 1000 or Communication Studies 1000.
Yeah, communication studies.
Did you do that your first year?
Yes, I did it all during the J term. So.
Okay.
Yeah, my second year, I guess. Yeah.
Did that help you become more confident in speaking publicly?
Yeah, because that professor he's a good professor. He was telling us. I don't know if you know her, Rafael.
Cervantes.
Yeah. He's a good professor. He was giving us more confident about ourselves because, well, at the first day of class, he was asking us if you have any concerns or something like that. And I was telling him it's not my first language, and I usually speak fine, but when it comes to speeches, like if I have to give a speech, I'll get nervous, and sometimes I'll just say random words and not being able to follow the order. And he's saying, you don't have to have a good English to speak up, because speech is not only the language, it is the way you're speaking to people, your gestures, your voice, and you're confident. Like when you're confident enough and you're talking to people, people here are just going to listen to you, no matter what you're saying.
Yeah,
they're listening. And that was truly, I usually trying to make my speeches kind of funny in a way, so to see people's reactions, if they laugh, then I know they're focusing, they're listening to me, and that gave me more confidence about me speaking. Yeah,
that's great. That's great. So, how do you feel about your future? Do you have any concerns about your ability to realize your future goals?
I feel like I had enough study in my future. I'm a futuristic person. I'll always look at all the future chances I have, and I'm thinking about going to grad school right after graduation. Well, I'm thinking about staying here for year experience
Okay, like a internship somewhere?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and then go find another college or another university,
Mm-hmm.
not in the U.S. because I feel like I have to learn about different countries around the world. There are so many countries to visit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to stay here. Well, I want to stay here. It's so nice, but at the same time, if I'm giving that chance, I would like to go somewhere else
Mm-hmm.
to explore myself more and
Mm-hmm.
learn more from different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about going to Germany.
To Germany?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's a great, well, many people saying it's a great country for healthcare
Mm-hmm.
professions,
Yeah.
all that.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I'm thinking about going there.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, I'm not sure if I'm trying to, right now, I'm trying to somehow spread awareness in a way, like it's through my social media. So instead of just posting any picture on Instagram, I'll just
Mm-hmm.
pick up like good pictures and pictures that has a meaning and put a quote under it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to put a lot of pictures, a lot of meaningless pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I want to educate people more through the social media. Like people who are following me and more of a discussion stuff. So I'll just discuss with people about things. So whenever I have a chance to discuss stuff, I'll just talk about these stuff with my cousins, since we
Mhm.
are the same age,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate them like being part of my discussion
Uh-huh.
and exchanging thoughts. So I might see something odd, and then they say, "No, it's the normal thing to do." But then I get a chance to listen to their opinion, not thinking that my opinion is the best and is the right thing to have, but
Mhm.
also giving myself a chance to listen to other people's thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'm afraid if I'm gonna do it like, publicly.
Ah, okay.
Sometimes.
Okay. And they're back in Saudi Arabia, so
Mhm.
you had a chance to try out how people are responding to
Yeah.
your ideas and your new ways of thinking.
Yeah.
They give you that feedback.
Yeah,
But then at some point you have to go public, right?
Yeah, because
Okay.
they don't know that I'm kind of studying them in a way,
Okay. Okay.
but they're just answering the question. But
Uh-huh.
I have to analyze their reply, the way they're saying. So, for
Mhm.
example, when someone will say, "I don't like the way these people are acting," and then I'm just gonna say, "Well, they're free to do whatever they want," and things
Mhm.
like this. And then because one of my cousins thought that I will support her or
Mhm.
agree with her, and then when she assumed that everyone will agree on this point because
Mhm.
this is what you have to say. But if
Uh-huh.
I said something different, she will say, "Well, you might be right. This is,
Mm.
they're free to do whatever they want to do, but I don't agree," or something like this.
Uh-huh.
In a way, they get shocked at the beginning. They don't know how to reply to
Mm-hmm.
the way I'm responding to that discussion. But then they learn something about me that I don't like. For example, to judge people or whatever.
Mhm.
Sometimes they don't send stuff to me because they know that I'm gonna, just disagree
Uh-huh.
on stuff, and then.
So it sounds like you're sort of testing out the waters, if you will, to see how much change you can affect in your family circle, right?
Mhm.
So beyond your immediate family, so your extended family.
Yeah. And
And
especially with my mom, I do a lot with my mom, like saying, "Why, if one of my brothers do this, you will say it's okay for them, but for me, you don't want me to talk that way, or you don't want me to say it." And she was like, something like, I'm just gonna tell her, "You think that because I'm a girl or something like this,"
Mhm.
and then she has nothing to say to me. She will just say, "Don't think about it that way. Don't take it personally," or whatever. But I know that she cannot see the point I'm saying. Like,
Mhm.
she cannot see that I'm saying that because I'm a girl, and you can see how differently you treated me and my
Mhm.
other brothers, because you think, well, in her mind, she thinks she treat us fairly the
Mhm.
same,
Mhm.
and she do this for me because I'm a girl and I have to be protected or whatever, for whatever reason.
Mhm.
And she, like, even after discussing stuff with her, she would not understand my point of view because, well, she's not that old, but she still believed that this is the way society should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you think she ever regrets letting you go to the U.S. to study? Or you would have come anyway? Or you had to have their permission? You could not have come without their permission.
I had to have their permission, but I think she's proud of us like being here, but she didn't know that it's part of the education system. She thinks that I'm just, well, she's not surprised because this was me. Like even back home, I would just argue about different stuff, but not like in terms of gender or whatever. But I used to argue a lot, so it's not surprising somehow. Yeah, whenever I brought something up, she has to deal with it.
But I do feel like there's a different understanding about education in some cultures, that it's more about you get a certain set of skills and you find a job, and so then you're educated in that sense.
Yeah.
But because we meaning the U.S. educational system, when it's I think at its best, it is also offering students a breadth of experiences in different disciplines, and just by looking at a particular issue from a biological perspective, a psychological perspective, a sociological perspective, a philosophical perspective, all of a sudden you realize that the truth is really dependent on what your perspective is, and there are many different ways in which to see something.
Yeah.
And so intellectually, it explodes your universe, right? You can't just look at things anymore from one perspective, and so it's by its very nature. When it's a liberal arts education, it's transformative.
Yeah.
And so you're not the same person. You can't be the same person ever again.
No.
And so you will go on to continue to question and to think critically about things for the rest of your life, which is a wonderful thing. But it also makes it more complicated because you can't accept a limited worldview anymore.
Yeah, I want to do more of a traveling a lot, like giving speeches or like doing researches or around the world, because I feel like it's, well, I want to go back to home, but I feel like I don't want to stay in that limited place. I want to expand my knowledge more and go around the world and see what other people are thinking about me, or like learn about other people. And this is what I'm trying to make the most of my classes, not taking classes for credit, but also I want to take that knowledge and apply it to life. And I don't want to take that class because it's a class I have to take it and that's it. And I feel like this is what my brothers are doing. One of them is going to St. Thomas, and the other one studying at Concordia University. And they might have some liberal art classes, but they're just taking it as a class. They don't really think beyond what this class is giving us.
Right.
How this class preparing us for life, and I can see the way they're speaking or they're dealing with different stuff. They're not learning anything. They've been taking that class, but they're not learning.
Yeah. So another question about your future. The elections in 2016 that had a profound impact on a lot of things in the U.S. Did that affect you in any way, or your confidence in your future in the U.S.?
Yes. Somehow I feel like people are moving like forward, being willing to elect female president.
Okay.
Somehow. So I feel like the words are, we're looking at you, or like people around the world are looking at the U.S. like they're hoping that Clinton can be elected as a president, because it's not like because she's a woman, but she's better than Trump in a way that people thought about it. They want her to be the president because they don't want Trump to be the president, so she's the only option. And somehow I thought if she was elected, that would give us more power as women, and also give us more trust in ourselves and in the future, the woman leading the future or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I feel like, especially people back at home, that if they could look at her and say if she could become the president, that we could do something else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to be inferior to men anymore. We don't have, because men are, well, Saudi men are afraid of strong, educated women.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, I feel like they don't want to be in a situation where a woman is superior and she
Mhm.
can't, she earned more than them,
Mhm.
because they believe that this is what it means to be a man, to
Mhm.
have, to protect that family and then
Mhm.
be the breadwinner,
Mhm.
whatever. And
But the fact that Clinton did not win, that
Mhm.
Trump won, well, we can argue about the popular vote versus the electoral college,
Yeah.
but the fact that Trump is now our president, has that affected you or your situation here or your confidence in your future,
Mm.
at least as long as you want to be in the U.S.?
Yeah, somehow I was worrying somehow, but at the same time, as a Saudi woman,
Mhm.
person, citizen, I feel like I'm not affected that much because
Okay.
of the Saudi-American relationship.
Okay,
Because, he's a businessman, he wants our money.
Right.
Like,
right.
oil and money, and then, I felt safe somehow
Okay.
because I am from that country. But if I wasn't from Saudi Arabia, I will fear a little bit,
Mhm.
and also not fearing him, but his supporters, because
Right.
people
Yes.
are the crazy. Because he as a president cannot do anything by himself. He have to ask the government, the people around him. Like, even though he can do it, but sometimes, like,
Mhm. Well, he's
Like-
got his supporters, he's got his base, and he's
Yeah.
certainly trying to do things without Congress or congressional approval.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how, in a way, I feel like he's testing democracy in a big way. Like, do our systems, can the democratic system here push back enough against him or push back and prevent him from his worst instincts and the worst things that he's trying to do. He's already had a profoundly negative effect on so many things, but
yeah,
people have also pushed back,
yeah,
right? And there are more women now in office than ever before
Yeah.
because of the pushback against him.
yeah. And I feel like people back home think that might be the worst period in the American history because of him. Like, they might not see some of the advantage of him being, like, I don't know what's the advantage, what are the advantages of him being the president, but there will be some. But people don't look at it that way. They just think that the U.S. is not great, like, is a bad country now because he's the president.
Right.
But they don't live here. They don't see anything. They just hear, listen to whatever he's saying or whatever new rules or laws are being established. But I feel like, it's like I feel like they don't have the right to say if it's a good country or not anymore because they're not living here. It's not your business. But they will, we will look at the U.S. as the central of the world, like, as a powerful country, and I feel like Saudi Arabia is as ally or follower to the U.S. People there should, people in Saudi Arabia should be interested and know a little bit about the, whatever it's going on. But the thing is, we don't teach, back at home, people don't understand the, what is it? They don't understand the process. They don't understand the, what is it?
The political process?
Yeah, the political process.
Of how
I just
someone
forget
becomes
it.
president?
Yeah, I just forget everything. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't understand it in a way. They don't study it. So I feel like this is a way. Well, I do. I don't really understand it, but I have it. Like, I am kind of in the middle of it because I feel like the Saudi government or people there don't want their people to understand what's going on, what they are doing, and they they just want them to understand that whatever the government is doing is the best thing for the people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that way they don't, no one will speak up and saying like asking for revolutions or whatever. They just keep people quiet because they won't understand. They just follow me.
Yeah. And I think, like I said before, more now than ever before, people realize what are the different institutions that are in place here that can challenge the presidential authority. And I think people have realized certain gaps that the president can actually do a whole lot more damage than we might have realized very quickly. But then there are other ways in which, particularly through the courts, there's been a lot of pushback. But also, the courts have supported him on other things too. So it's an interesting time, but I think it doesn't affect international students as much as it does international immigrant students. Yeah. So you were also part of the Digital Storytelling Project. That was the first year that we did that, Amy and I. And so, and I remember you did such a wonderful story, and we've continued to show that in multiple conferences.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if that project had an impact on your sense of self beyond just doing the assignment to complete the course. Like, what impact did creating that story about yourself have on you beyond the course?
I feel like I have more time to look at myself, like how far I've come through these years, and also I learned to admire my work. You know, I'm just telling people, just admire your work, because people don't know how far, like how hard you tried, and like they just see the result, if it's a good or a bad result. They just care if it's a good or a bad result. They don't care about the process you're taking, like to come this far. Even if it's a bad result, you have to be proud and admire your work, because you know that you did your best. Like, it's not like you've been wasting your time to get this bad result. But this is what I was telling my parents when I didn't get into the sonographer program or like doing different things, because they, you know, back in high school, they know that I'm that good student. They get in almost full grades in all my exams and studying well. I'm a third child, so I was the first person to be like this in my family, and I got a lot of privilege because of that. I got, you know, a new laptop because I'm a good student and all that. But now being like coming to the US and being a college student, they assume that I'll get A's in all my courses because you used to be a good student, so you have to continue that hard work. And I was telling them, yes, I do. I'm continuing that like hard work, and I'm doing, you know, more than I did in high school. But sometimes it doesn't work for me. It's like not everything's for me. Like I might enjoy some classes, but not all my classes. I'm doing my best in all of them. But it might be something like internal telling, like not telling me, but I might not do well because I know that I don't prefer this subject over that one. So I'm just...
So it's really interesting what you said. So it's like if you're not motivated or you don't like something, then you maybe don't invest.
Even though I tried hard to do it, like it's not like I'm just saying I don't like this subject, I don't like this class, and I'm just gonna skip it or whatever. No, I do my best, and so I'm not regret at the end. You know, I'll do my best, but at the same time, if I didn't get that result, I don't feel sad about it, because I did my best, and I admired my work somehow, because no one really knows what's going on when you're like mentally stagnant at home or whatever. Like, they don't know. We might all study, but we all have different different problems, different priorities, or whatever that makes us different. Like, this is an example of the anatomy and physiology class. So my friend she has a good professor.
Mhm.
I mean, I had a good professor as well, but her questions were very, very specific. And
Mhm.
like when we were in the lab and we were pointing out the model and ask us about that part and what is that part,
Mhm.
she will leave like the whole thing and ask about specific things. So it was her style at the same. I was doing my best at the same time, trying to learn at my best ability, I guess.
Mhm.
And I did, like, if you ask me about that question, I'll just answer it.
Mhm.
But during exams, I just don't do well
Mm.
on the paper.
Mhm.
And I know that I don't, like, I know that about myself.
Mhm.
But you get a good professor and he's taking the average,
Mhm.
like the average score, and then score, and you were able to get A minus
Mm.
with 80% or
Mm.
80.
So he, what do you call it? He adjusted the grades. He
Yeah.
graded on a curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were able to get A minus, but we almost get the same thing.
Mhm.
We get 80. Well, because of your professor, you get A minus and I get B or something.
Mhm.
So it's not like you're doing better than me.
Right.
It's different circumstances, and we all study differently, and we all get different
Mhm.
results, even though we might study at the same, like, group study or whatever.
So some of your success is also dependent on the context of the course and the professor and the grading and so how did the digital story project, did this help you see all of the different variables involved in your academic success?
I feel like, in a way, looking at people, like, different stories, people telling stories from their own perspective,
Oh, uh-huh.
is a good way to look at it. Like,
Mhm.
I think your story is interesting and I love it, but if I'm gonna talk about this part, it might be boring for me to talk about it. Like, I might not have enough information about it. It might not be. I might not have a lot of pictures or a lot of stories about that specific topic I'm talking about. So I was looking at it in that way.
In terms of everybody has a unique story to tell, and the story that they tell is the one that is true for them.
Yeah, if I'm taking your story, it might not be interesting if I said it, but your story is interesting enough to do it that way. But it wasn't for me.
Have you shown your story to other people? We've shown it to lots of people, but have you shown it to other people?
I don't like my voice. It's like, I showed it to my sister, but my sister and my two friends, Shayma, I know that they've been in the class, so they know. They watched it before, but no, not
I think we actually used yours at the beginning of last year. I think they saw yours was one of the few that we showed at the beginning of the semester.
Yeah.
As an example. So I think that helped a lot for students to see, what is a digital story, rather than show for you. For your class, we looked at examples that were on the website.
Yeah.
But for the next year, we could show examples from the previous year. So then there were stories that were much more similar to what they themselves might actually create.
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful project. I have really enjoyed watching students claim that assignment as an opportunity to express their journey, their truth.
Yeah. And it's better. I feel like if we wrote a journal about it, that would not be interesting. But like having these pictures and
the audiovisual part.
People telling stories by their voices.
Yes.
It's really more. It makes it more emotional and somehow more joyful.
Yes. Yes.
I can see, like, I can feel people's feeling when they're telling their stories.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah. Let me just see if there's anything that we didn't have a chance to talk about. Well, the last question is there anything else you would like to tell me about your experiences on campus or off campus that has affected your sense of self and your sense of belonging in the U.S.?
I guess I have not my belonging to the U.S., but I have stronger belonging to myself back home. So when I first came, it was like I know I'm Saudi, but well, I still hold all these traditions and cultures, all that stuff. But now I feel like sometimes when I do something, I'm thinking about it in a way, I have to keep that part. Like, I have to keep that part of the culture. I have to stay who I am, like, not changing much. I mean, changing my mind, my thoughts, being more open-minded, but not changing the way I behave or, like, trying to become American, like, act like American people, that culture. I still cook my ethnic, like, original food. It's, if I'm eating, well, this is part of me and my sister, like my other brothers, if I'm eating some US or other food, it's not like, I don't feel like I'm eating a meal. But for lunch, we mostly eat rice with a kind of meat. And that way we feel like we're eating lunch. This is what we used to do back home, like mostly eat rice at lunch. So yeah, I feel like I have more connection to my family and my country more, because now I'm far away and I get to learn a lot of stuff, but at the same time I feel like I have to hold on to that, to different cultures and I guess traditions. And that will make, because part of who I am is my culture. My culture shaped me in a way, that this is what type of person I am. And also I'm learning a lot of things right here, but it's not like I'm taking whatever gets for me. Like, even sometimes if it's not, even if sometimes it's a good contact, but I know it's not applying to me. Like, it's not something related to my culture or whatever. I'll have it on my mind, but not changing myself to become that person.
So it's a really interesting balance that you've got there. So you are learning a lot here and you're becoming more open-minded and thinking critically about things, even things back in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
But you seem to be able to distinguish that from, who you are as a person and what matters to you from a cultural perspective.
Yeah.
So you keep who you are intact, right?
Yeah.
But you're also accepting a change and other ideas as part of your worldview. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm like, there are some perspective that I feel like people here are telling us that we have to change it. But now when I'm thinking about it, I'm just saying, this is part of me. I don't have, like, there's a line. I don't have to cross it somehow, even though sometimes I believe this might be wrong, but I feel like it's part of me. Like, it's part of the culture that it's so deep that we cannot cross it. Or, for example, the religion aspect of it. I'm a Muslim and there's like rules, although I might, can cross the line of a cultural aspect, but for the religion, I feel like it's something that I cannot cross it.
Okay.
Or, I feel bad if sometimes I just get home and I'm so tired, but I have to pray. I missed that time and I have to pray. And I feel like I don't have to miss it because this is something more important than the society. Like, I can't ignore the society but not ignore the religion. I know it's part of the society, but because the religion, it's the relationship between you and God. So it's out of the society and you make it, you do it the best you think. I feel like you just do it the way you think, you feel comfortable doing it, and you feel that internal peace because you're doing it that way. And this is why when it comes to the religion, I might not agree on that, but I have to do it. So for example, there's a quote from the Quran or something saying that, boys are inherited the twice amount of a girl or whatever. And I know this is something that religion, like God says, this is what it has to be. But I was thinking about it in another way. I was like, okay, back in the days, women were not able, didn't work or whatever, but men had more responsibilities, so therefore they have to take the largest amount of their father's or mother's money, whatever, because they have to take care of the family. But now both genders are working, all that. So I was thinking, if I died in the future, I will just like, I don't know, write something that my, whatever money I have, I'm just gonna split it equally among my kids or whatever. This is something acceptable to do. But I'm not crossing that line. I don't want to give my sons more than my daughters or whatever, because this is what the religion said. But at the same time, well, I do accept it, but not really accept it. But I know that, well, I don't have to cross that line. But I can say something could work for me, for my beliefs and values, and saying, I'm just thinking about it in a way that both genders are working now and they both have responsibilities, so it should be distributed equally among them. So I'm just gonna say that in the future, something like this. But yeah, this is one example that I don't have to. One example of the things that I don't have to cross.
Right. Well, I think depending on the religion and maybe even the sect within a religion, or the I guess sect is the right word. So you've got the Word of God, and then you've got sort of interpretations of it, and so I think that's what people who are giving sermons or preaching, they help people understand a text that was written a long time ago.
Yeah.
To give it, okay, so how can we interpret that in today's world, so that we're not violating the religious principle, but we're also understanding it within a new context, because it was written in a particular historical, sociological context, and that context has changed now. So how does that affect our understanding of it and our obligations towards it?
I feel like more and more people, as I said, now they're like changing the rules, not changing, but modify it to the modern days, and saying that, well, this is a new case to have.
Right.
Like, so we're kind of read about all these Old Testament and old books we're having about, what is the rules for this thing, and then we're gonna apply it for this other things that they've never had it before. And yeah, I feel like they're trying to kind of apply the old rules to the new things, and this is a good thing. But for me, I feel like people sometimes they're doing it the way they want it to be, not the
way it is.
Yeah. So for me, having critical thinking abilities or skills, I feel like I would like to argue about some things right now. Well, I'm just gonna, because when you learn you have the principle of the religion, you understand it, and then you make it suitable for you in a different way, but not cross. Because what you don't have to cross, where you have to stand. So you take whatever you need from the religion, and then be aware of the different consequences, and make it good, in a good shape for you. But well, I feel like in the religion you have, like, you can't do anything, but the most important thing is not to do it the right way, but not to do it the wrong way, not to cross the lines. So I feel, well, there's another example about the woman being in the front of the crowd and praying, like leading the whole mosque or whatever. And I don't, like, there are some people who will come, like feminists or activists or whatever, saying that a woman can't be in the front and like pray. Why do women have to be at the back and like be a followers? And I get their point of understanding, but this is not something, like, as a feminist, I don't agree on that, because like the woman being in the front and like give her back to all these like men behind them, she's not in a good position to be that person. I mean, because we're praying, we're doing different movements or whatever, and also I believe that but I feel like it's not a good position for her to be up there. I know, I
Mhm.
understand that people
Mhm.
want
Right.
equality, but we can have a women mosque and she can
Mm.
pray.
And be in the front there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like this is something that will never be changed because this is the principles of the religion and we can't change it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, this has been really nice talking to you. I don't want to take too much more of your time,
Oh no, I
and
don't have anything. It's your time.
let me just get back to the page here. Oops. Oops. I'm not having. Okay, I'm going to stop here now.